Bula Nwaya and welcome. This is Maple coming to you live from the comfort of my home. I hope you've had a wonderful weekend. It is Sunday here and it is, I believe, 2:40 p.m. here in Fairbanks, Alaska. I welcome you here. Today is Sunday, restful Sunday. It's my Sunday and also a day that I pause, rest, and I find time for this moment to share with you what it means to have a restful Sunday and reflecting on the week before, as well as inspiration for a new week. So it is really a great day to really reflect on whatever may have worked or the wins of the week, whatever it is, that I can let go of what does not work or does not work for me and hold on to what is working and to grow on it and to keep investing in it. And so, whatever your journey is, um, I hope that you are doing the same because I have found that this is one way that it has helped me grow. It has helped me to realign myself in preparing every week, preparing for another week whether I do not know what the week will hold from what it has for me, but all I know is that I can prepare myself for it. And so this time, um and this particular day, I choose to reflect, really rest, and have an inspiration, an affirmation, or look at my goals and see what I need to work on. And so I welcome you here. Stay tuned. I have quite a few things that I want to share today, and I hope it's not too long. And I hope that you will gain something out of it, or it's going to help you in your growth journey, whatever it is, or share it to someone that you know needs to hear this. So again, welcome here. Um, Here's the thing, Sundays are really my favorite time, and really to slow down, to reflect, and of course to rest in God's promises. I know, for many of us, especially hardworking parents, nurses, as I'm a nurse still working full time, my heart is, with nurses who are working 12 hours. That was what I used to do for the past many years. Um, and and I have now, I'm working the 8-hour shift, the 9 to 5. Well, although I start at 9 to 4:30, but my heart goes out to all hardworking parents, and especially my fellow nurses out there, and entrepreneurs as well. As now, I am now a digital business owner, and I also would like um, to highlight that as well, because slowing down can really feel like we're falling behind. But tonight I I want to remind you, that rest is not quitting. It's just trusting that God is working behind the scenes, and having that trust is having faith in you, having faith in God and in your journey. As for me, it is my business journey, and of course in my at work, but specifically in my business journey, as this is how it came about for me doing lives, and hopefully inspiring you in your journey. So just redefining rest. For me, sometimes we push ourselves so hard, we push ourselves so hard, um, trying to make things happen. A lot of times I saw myself doing that. We hustle, we plan, we try to control every outcome. But the truth is, rest is not a sign of weakness, it's a declaration of faith. So that is why, um, every time when I used to work the 12 hours, I don't always have Sundays as my day off. And I worked night shift, so it's either a sleeping day or a day off. But now that I'm able to embrace it and have these weekends off and really choose this day to be a rest day, then it's a declaration of faith. And when we pause and say, God, I trust you to move even when I can't see it, that's when He steps with divine timing. And I truly believe in God's timing always. So many, so many experiences I've had, that I thought, I had a plan, that I thought I could work this out, but truly I couldn't do it on my own. And always, God's timing was always perfect. And even though I didn't understand it then, I just trusted. And so even in the business, I've learned that when I rest my mind and surrender my worries, clarity flows. And that moment, and I remembered saying this before, that when you find that time of quietness, that time of rest, that pause, sometimes clarity, things become clear to you. And what God is trying to let us know becomes much louder, that it becomes a confirmation. And those ideas, the ideas come, the right people show up, and doors start to open. And I believe that, it's in the stillness that direction becomes clear. That when you're aligned to that journey, and you know that you're in the right path, whatever it is that you are doing. As for me, still working full time, building this business on the side, that I know is going to be my retirement. And so, how do we, when we look at rest, because I really am focused on that is what I want to share today. Rest doesn't mean giving up; it means giving it back. And you might be wondering, what do I mean by that? It's giving back to God, handing over the parts, we don't control, the things that are beyond our control. Sometimes we try to do it, but we know that it's beyond our control, our worries, our timelines, our what ifs. When we try to carry everything, we grow weary. We really get tired. It really drains us. But when we give it back to Him, we make space for peace, creativity, and a divine wisdom. And that's when, I truly believe that when God whispers, I've got this, keep walking in faith, it really helps me to stand firm on His promises, knowing that I am not alone in my journey. And I always like to say that when I started this digital business, it's, you're never alone. I have God on my side, but I have people who are guiding me, mentors and coaches and friends that I have met, so many who are just willing to share their wisdom, willing to share their strategies, willing to share what's working in their business journey and how I can apply it to mine. And so I've seen that in my own life, personally, in my nursing journey, as well as in this, this digital business, and even in my family. And so when I paused and trusted, things aligned in ways that I couldn't have planned myself. So what is what? So here's the thing. This today is it my son as it's my Sunday, and for some of you who are watching, it could be a Monday. I want to remind you, what looks still is not empty. God is at work in the waiting. Your prayers are heard, your efforts are seen, and your breakthrough is being prepared. And if you're in the quiet season, don't rush it. I remember there were times when I was impatient, and I'm always reminded that, when you try to do something that's beyond your control, you probably will not achieve what you are trying to get at. Why? Because God has His own divine intervention in His own timing, and when you try to rush it, you may not, it may not work the way it is, and then you'll probably realize that, oh, I should have listened. So, God might be strengthening your roots before He shows your fruit. And so instead of asking, why am I stuck? Why am I still here? Why am I not moving forward? Why am I not growing? Why am I not able to see the open doors, the growth, what I'm looking for? Just ask this question. Instead of asking that, ask this question: what is God shaping me right now? Because I believe that when things are not going the way we planned, sometimes we have to sit back and have that moment, and ask, what are you trying to no how are you trying why what are you shaping me right how are you shaping me right now? Or um, what is God shaping me right now, in me right now? Because sometimes it's just a growing moment. Sometimes it's just a moment of um, letting go and let God. And so your waiting season is still, your waiting season is still working season for God. I truly believe that it's so many ways I have seen how God has intervened into my life. I remembered coming from, so I'm just going to share a short story, just my story. Coming from Fiji, I'm originally from Fiji, and moving to another island for work. My husband got a work contract, and then I decided um, that I wanted to work because I was already a nurse back home, and I was a stay-at-home mom for like almost 3 years. But after the first year, my husband had asked me, why don't you try and take the board exam, because it is American territory, and in order to work I had to take that board exam. And I said, well, okay, because I was enjoying being a stay-at-home mom, and that was really um, a great moment with my children, having to have those moments I didn't have when I got married, had children, I started working. And so when I started to do that process of having to take that board exam, it took me mm, almost 2 years to get all my paperwork done. And because of the requirements, there is a process. And I really was put on trial with my faith during those times of waiting. And but you know what? Even though I was like telling myself, why is this? Why is this delay happening? I'm doing all the right things. um but God reminded me that all I had to do is do my part, and He will do His part. And um and that was one of the moments that I really questioned, like, why am I giving so much of my time, um and I'm not getting anywhere? But then, when I had to take that, when I waited and just studied and waited for the moment, um, to do two exams. So I had to do one exam away from, I had to travel, and then I came back and took the board exam. All that took almost 2 years. But did I give up? No, I did not, because I trusted. At one point, I was, questioning, like, why is it taking so long? Why, the transcripts and everything that needed to be sent. But that was a time in my life that I've encountered that. And why I'm sharing this here is because I trusted. I just didn't give up, and I was thankful that I didn't, because I was able to work, pass the exams, and worked. And that was one of the many ways that God intervened and told me, hey, you gotta wait. My timing is way more than, way precious than yours. My timing is more perfect than what you are, trying to rush me into, because I know what is best for you. And so when I say that your waiting season is still a working season, whether you're in the business, whether you are waiting for a career, whether you are, waiting for a job, or whatever journey you're in, your waiting season is God is work. It's His working season. So rest in faith, and use right and rise in purpose, because then only will you know. Just today I'm just reminded, because at church today, it's my Sunday, so um, there was something um, that I was reminded today, that we are nothing, but through God's grace, we can achieve, and through and we can do all things through Christ who strengthens us. It is through His grace that I can be somebody, but otherwise, I am nothing. And that really reminded me that there are times that things are beyond our control, and we just have to let go and don't try to do something that is not going to work your way, but God's way. And so take this moment, recharge your faith, refill your spirit, and realign your focus. um, I like to also say that, like yesterday, I had a learning session in the business with other business partners, and a speaker who shared about mindset, and it is something that she has learned big time, that has helped her grow personally and mentally, emotionally. And because it is not about earning online, but it is about how you have to have that mindset of trusting, mindset of growth, mindset of knowing um, that you need help, that you need guidance in certain times in our lives. We cannot always do everything on our own. And for me, that is always my quiet time, when I seek God to guide me, for the day, in decisions that I have to make. And so I want to share with you, like, to recharge your faith, refill your spirit, and realign your focus. If it is something that you have you have detoured, or you have lost that focus, or you're in so many things that you want to do, try to have that quiet time, step back and realign yourself. And so tomorrow will bring new strength. Tomorrow is a new week. Tomorrow is a new day. It will bring new strength. But today, rest in His promises. And I truly believe in that. So I have an affirmation for us before I end this go live. Rest in faith. Oh, I rest in faith, knowing that God is working all things. So you can share that, and also together, God is working all things together for my good. So you can say that to yourself, look in the mirror, or during your quiet time, or when traveling, if you are driving. This is something that you can tell yourself. Rest in faith, knowing that God is working all things together for my good. So you claim that, that be your affirmation. So also, I can say that, I usually tell myself, I rest in faith, knowing that God is working all things together for my good. So take that time to rest. It may not be a Sunday, it may be a day off for you. Whatever day that you choose to just rest and not do anything, that is a perfect moment to just be still and let those um, and then you will notice that when things become clear, when some of the things that you've been thinking about, when it becomes clear, that is an answer. That is when you know that that is a confirmation to what you are thinking of, or to the project that you are doing, or even in the business journey, whether it is an ad, creating a content, or doing this go live. And so as we head into a new week, remember, rest is part of your growth. Whether you're building, I did say earlier, whether you're building a business, raising a family, that is not easy. I raised 4 children. I now have 4 grandchildren. And of course, the family is growing. But I've been there, and I know that it is not easy. Whether you're building a business, raising a family, or chasing your new dream, don't forget to pause and breathe. Rest in faith, rise in purpose. And that's the theme for today, resting in faith and rising in purpose. Let that be your theme of the week. Let that be something that you will take hold of. Um, and watch how God turns your quiet obedience into visible blessings. Remember, as you go through those, and I did mention this in one of my Go Lives, I think, that, during the quietness, during the times of, that you don't see anything, the root is growing deeper. And before you know it, results start to show, the shoot will show up, then the fruits, and then it keeps growing. And that is how I see my journey in the business, and of course in my spiritual life, because unless I take time to pause and rest and listen for God, to God's guidance, I will not know and understand these times of pause, these times of delays, these times of stillness, or in the waiting season. So, as I come to the end of my Go Live, I want to thank you for tuning in. Thank you for listening. If this message spoke to you, share it with someone who needs that reminder too. And as always, keep blooming, keep believing, and keep walking in faith. So I hope you have a blessed rest of your day, Sunday, whatever time zone you're watching me from. Vinaka, Foyexia, and God bless.